Well, as we noted, Ponzi scheme mastermind Bernie Madoff sentencing begins in about 20 minutes' time, and prosecutors want the 71-year-old to spend the rest of his life behind bars. But what will life be like for him in the big house? Let's ask someone who's been there, done that, and is now helping white-collar offenders prepare for life behind bars. He's Larry Levine. He served 9 years in prison, and he was convicted of securities fraud and also drug trafficking, and he's now the founder and director of Wall Street Prison Consultants. And Larry, thanks so much for joining me.
Good morning.
Okay, so before we talk about life behind bars for Bernie Madoff, I mean, in your view, having watched the case and followed it, how long do you think Madoff will get? What type of sentencing do you think he'll get today?
Well, he's off the charts. The sentencing guidelines goes up to level 43, and level 43 is life. I did a whole bunch of complex calculations. He's like level 60, and I'm thinking maybe he's going to get between 50 and 80 years. So it's a life sentence no matter what they give him.
Explain that to us, because all of us who don't know exactly what you mean by that terminology. What do you mean he's off to level 60? What does that mean exactly?
Well, they have the United States sentencing guidelines. They have a chart, and they assign what's called an offense level to your crime. If you're a narcotics trafficker, the more drugs you have, the higher you are as far as offense level. If you're involved in a financial crime, the more money that's involved, the higher the offense level. Well, the higher the offense level, the more time that they can give you. And the offense level on the chart only goes up to 43. Well, I calculated Madoff maybe being at level 60. So his crime, he took so much money, he's basically off the chart. They can't even calculate how much time he should get.
So in your view, no doubt he's going to spend his entire life, the rest of his life, in prison. In that sense, then, and as we had talked about before, what is life going to be like for him?
I can't hear anything.
Okay, it looks as if we lost sound with Larry Levine. We will try to get back to him to talk more about what he expects Bernie Madoff's life to be like behind bars. As we had mentioned, his sentencing is coming up in just about 15 minutes' time. Okay, let's get back to Larry, because now we've connected with him again. Larry, sorry about that. I was asking you,
it's all right.
Essentially, what is life going to be like behind bars for Bernie Madoff?
He's got a long, lonely road ahead of him. Most people that go into custody, they have an out date. That's what they're looking forward to. Doing their time, keeping busy, and getting out. Bernie is never getting out. He's not going home. The show's basically over for him. He's going to be a scapegoat. All the inmates on the inside relying on their wives and family to send them money so they can make phone calls, buy stamps, shop at the commissary, the inmate store. Well, that gravy train's dried up. And even though Madoff's not directly responsible for it, they're going to blame him. He's going to be a scapegoat.
And what
I
does
don't
that
see
mean?
him.
What does that mean, essentially?
He's not going to have any friends. People aren't going to want to hang out with him. No one's really going to want to have to deal with him. You got to understand that he ripped off people, regular people. If you had defrauded an insurance company, defrauded a bank or financial institution, that's an acceptable crime. Bernie directly affected people like an economic terrorist. And the worst thing you can do in prison is be a thief and steal from people.
Then, Larry, in a medium-risk prison, does that mean, or medium-security prison, does that mean that he has any chance of getting some extra security because of this scapegoat scenario you're painting?
Well, you know, I did a complete analysis of him. He really should be at a camp, minimum security, because of his crime. It's the dollar loss that's boosting him up. The Federal Bureau of Prisons is going to put what's called a management variable on him, and they're going to take him outside his normal custody level. So at a medium, he's going to be living in a cell. It's not a dormitory, and I see them probably putting his cell maybe near one of the officers' stations, somewhere where there's high visibility, so they can keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
You know, you've never had a situation like this.
Well, Larry, I mean, aside from those things, I mean, what else can he do himself to protect himself? Because that is what you consult with people about.
Well, he needs to maintain high visibility. Don't put himself in a situation where, let's say, he's going to be going to the showers at midnight buying. Well, he's going to be locked in a cell anyway. It's not like a low or a minimum. He needs to not be confrontational with people. He needs to show the ultimate amount of respect to people and keep his mouth shut and his ears open.
Okay.
He needs to do his time,
Larry,
not someone else's time.
Larry, we're out of time, but thanks so much, Larry Levine, and we'll be back.